Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, and we're starting our meeting this evening. I'd like to call our meeting to order. So I'd like to request a motion to start our meeting.
Councilmember Brooks makes the motion to start the meeting.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great. I would now like to go ahead and ask for a roll call. So Ward 1 is asking for an excused absence tonight. So I'd like to request a motion to excuse Councilmember Harding.
Councilmember Brooks makes the motion to excuse Councilmember Harding.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ward 2, Councilmember Hobbs is requesting an excused absence tonight. So I'd like to request a motion for excused absence for Councilmember Hobbs.
Councilmember Brooks makes the motion to provide an excused absence for Councilmember Hobbs.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ward 3,
Present.
Ward 4.
Present.
Great, thank you. All right, I'd now like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you so much. So for our agenda this evening, we have a presentation. So we have a Black History Month proclamation. We have a citation to DC Charms, Inc. We also have our consent agenda, which includes 15 sets of minutes. We have the department operation reports, which include town admin and public works, treasurer's report for January and December, public safety, committee board, commission, and task force reports. And then, sorry, what are we missing? The proclamation. Oh, the proclamation itself. Oh, yes. So in addition to everything that's on here on the agenda for this evening, well, we have the mayor's report, council member reports and concerns, resident comments. Under action, we have some new business and some unfinished business, but I'd like to add, if we can, right before the consent agenda, is appointing Devin as an election supervisor. Yeah. I have her last name. I promise I have her last name. Well, I'm sure that, yeah, I'm sure that Greg has her last name. So that is I'm trying to think of what else. Resident comments, action. In the mayor's report, I'll address this, but it'll be discussing the next couple of meeting dates as part of the charter review and election day, which is in May, which also falls on a council meeting date. So I'll discuss that in the mayor's report. So I'd like to request an approval of the agenda unless there's anything else that anybody wants to add, but I'd like to request a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
Councilmember Brooks makes the motion to approve the agenda as stated with the addition of the appointment of Devin as the election supervisor.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Um, So why don't we go ahead and begin the citations? So I'd like to request for the DC Charms to just come up by the mic, introduce yourselves, and introduce who DC Charms is. Yeah, if you all can go up, because we're also going to take some photos.
Sorry, you asked us to introduce ourselves and
Yes.
what else?
And then just give us some information on what DC Charms is.
Hi, I'm Charm Karen Hatcher Thomas. DC Charms is a civic, social, and cultural organization that was formed in 1960 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have 22 chapters in these United States. We have a conclave every other year, an executive board meeting on the opposite year. We meet in July to have our conferences, and we also, with the host city, we do some things that host city is famous for, and we also socialize in the evenings after our meetings. We are called Charms. Our husbands are called Charmers, and our children are called Gems. And of course, we have Grand Gems, and it goes on. And we travel every year, and we enjoy what we do. We have made great friendships, and we just enjoy coming here and extending our services to the community. My mother was that person, so she just the trickle down theory. So I'm going to leave it to the next person.
Hi, my name is Della Hatcher, and I've been in DC Charms since 1986. Thank you all for having us here. It wasn't necessary. Guess that's it.
I'm Charm Annie Drakeford. I've been a Charm since 1999. I've served as the financial secretary and as the treasurer, and I enjoy what I do because it's family oriented. My sister brought me in. However, she's not here tonight, but I'm glad to be here, and we just enjoy Miss Monica, who invited us here, and she's been so gracious to us. So we thank you for having us here tonight, Miss Monica.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Charm Joaquin Cuffey, and I have been a member for over 16 years. My mother-in-law and my cousins brought me in, and I enjoy it.
Good evening. I'm Maddie Cuffey, and I've been a Charm since 1988, and certainly enjoy it. There are so many things that we do in helping our communities, and that gives me satisfaction. So thank you for having us here.
Thank you so much. And just to give everyone some context, the Beautiful Charms group came here and they host bingo events. If you know me, you know I like bingo. So I came to one of the bingo events and I had a blast. And I was then invited to come and speak to the ladies to see what they could do to help the town of Colmar Manor. And so one of the things that I asked them for were pumpkins, some turkeys or some food for Thanksgiving, and Christmas gifts for the children. And all I had to do was just ask, and it was like I was asking a genie in a bottle because they made all of it come true. So we received these amazing pumpkins. If you all remember the Halloween event, all of those big, beautiful pumpkins that converted our space into a pumpkin patch was through the Charms. These big, beautiful boxes that were so, I don't know, they were coordinated so beautifully. They were designed so perfectly with food for our town residents was through the Charms. Also, the gifts that we had for the kids for Christmas was through the Charms. So I want to thank you so much for all of your service and giving back to the community. You didn't have to, and you chose us to give back to. So From the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much.
So welcome. So welcome.
So we have a citation that I need to sign. So I'd like to present you with this citation, and then I'll ask the council to take a photo with you. Yeah, so this is for your generosity in contributing to providing pumpkins for Halloween, Thanksgiving meals for the residents, toys for the toy drive, and hereby let it be further known that the town of Colmar Manor appreciates all of DC Charms Inc.'s donations, and this house is your house, so thank you very, very much.
And Mayor Monica, you're not finished with us yet. We have a lot more to do.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to serve.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, I think this is in the way. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
And let me know when bingo's coming up.
Oh,
It's coming. Greg, can I get a copy of that? Can you send it to me, to my cell phone? Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so next I'd like to just read out a Black History Month proclamation. So, whereas the town of Colmar Manor acknowledges and celebrates the rich history and contributions of African Americans to our community and the world, and whereas the year 2024 marks the 98th anniversary of the recognition of Black History Month, a time dedicated to honoring the achievements, resilience, and cultural impact of African Americans, and whereas the theme for this year's Black History Month is African Americans in the arts, highlighting the significant role African Americans have played in shaping and enriching the artistic and cultural landscape. And now, therefore, I, Monica Casañas, Mayor of Colmar Manor, encourages all residents and staff to celebrate Black History Month, or Black Heritage Month. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Colmar Manor declares its commitment to actively engage in the commemoration of Black History Month throughout the month of February, with a special focus on the 98th anniversary and the theme African Americans in the Arts. And be it further resolved that this resolution serves as the town's commitment to honor, learn, and celebrate the history and contributions of African Americans with a specific emphasis on their profound impact in the realm of the arts. So I'll go ahead and sign this. Sign and enter this, 13th day of February 2024. What I'd like to also add in regards to this is I am Hispanic with ancestry, with African ancestry. And so for me, it's not just about celebrating Black History Month for the month of February. It's something that we celebrate all year round, something that we cherish and honor the contributions of all the people that have come before me. I always tell people I stand on the shoulders of giants, period. The town of Colmar Manor has had a rich history of Black leadership for over 40 years. You'll see it in one of my reports, But I just want to thank all the people that have come before me, have paved the way for me to be able to be here, for me to be able to live here. So just thank you. And this is something that it's obviously we're celebrating it this month, but for me, we celebrate it all year round. Great. So now I'd like to go ahead and we're not doing the rest of the presentations. Yeah, right. So I'll do them for the next time that we have our town meeting, but I'll go ahead and go down the agenda and just request that we review the consent agenda and then request a motion to approve. So right now, if there's anything glaring, anything that you want to bring up, that you want to discuss, I'll go ahead and just open it up for that.
The July 28th special council meeting, does that have the right date on it, Town Administrator? It states, I believe, December 12th.
So yeah, that just needs to be changed.
Okay, anything else?
Also on October 10th, 2023, the council meeting, in the council reports, it states that council member for Ward 3 did not have any report or concerns. However, when I looked at the YouTube video, there was some reporting from that council member, so we'll want to add that per the YouTube videos.
Okay. You have that, Greg?
Which date?
October 10th.
And then on the Comar Manor Police Department, it appears there's a couple of new columns on the main page for the police report. Added information, assist other agencies.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're saying. You're going too fast. Can you repeat that again? Be a little louder.
Okay, is my mic on? Okay. On the Comar Manor Police Department police report, January 2024, seems to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new columns that were not on the December report. So I would like to ask the chief to please either keep the columns consistent, or we need to have a consistent way to track where we're going with some of these column items. But if the report is constantly changing, it's very difficult to gauge our effectiveness.
Okay, I'll make note of that and try to change it next time. These are calls for dispatch. And if you notice on the total columns, there are no zeros. They don't, when I requested, they don't give us the zeros. So next month, I'll try to obtain probably 100 or so different categories and report out on each one.
And it may be exercise for the council to come up with a list of items that we want to track. And therefore, month by month, we have a consistent column headers.
Anything else?
I'm confused. Do you mean rows? Not columns?
So
are you talking
look
on this page?
Yeah, so I look at the incident type as different column headers, but we can say rows. Yeah, so if we look at the first incident type, 911 disconnect, we can say that's a column or a row. whatever we would like. But as long as we say going forward, we'll always have 911 disconnect as one row, accident as another row, added information as another row. So we can consistently track, are we going up in this category or are we going down in this category, as opposed to receiving new items on each monthly report.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, Chief, but I'll leave it up to you. I feel like there are definitely some things that we should be like focusing on. Whether or not there's a 911 disconnect, I don't know. But I think that that could be a conversation that we can have like after. Maybe it's just a meeting that we have with the police. Maybe it's a training that we take on how to communicate with the police department, what questions we should be asking. So that's my
See what I
recommendation.
can come up with. It's just, if it's a 0, it's not on here.
Oh, I see what you mean. So it only comes up if something is reported.
Correct.
Yeah, so that makes sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense. Anything else?
For the treasurer report, on the website, it shows that we're 182% of budget. Do we expect that to continue to exceed?
You're talking about the line item for the website?
Yeah, sorry. Line item 5835, website maintenance and communications.
In the budget transfers, I am requesting a transfer of money to cover those shortfalls. So yes, I am anticipating that will continue. You know, and that there is, when we get, actually the budget transfers didn't get it added onto the agenda tonight. One, I guess, because we can't approve it because it requires 4 votes. So I guess that's getting put on the next meeting, but you know, that is projected to be over budget, as well as, or needing a budget adjustment, as well as about 7 other items. And those are, you know, being proposed under the budget adjustments, which will be taken up at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I can also clarify, they're actually just being classified under an appropriate column. So these are things like the constant contact, the text messaging, so the digital communications that we utilize before we were listing them under office expenses. So by putting it under website and communication, we thought it would be a better place to put that information. So
thank you. Thank you for the clarification. And then lastly, on the dues line item 5120, it looks like we are 154% over budget. Do we expect that to continue to go?
Under that, when I looked at it in more detail, there was a misclassification of an expense in there, and I can't remember what that expense was. So that is more in line, and yeah, so that one, you know, on the next report will be adjusted down closer to the budget amount. I still think it's about $250 over budget. And if you look at the transfer report, you say you got 2 separate budget report, or treasurer's report. If you look at the one that has the budget adjustment column, you'll see that there have been some adjustments made through February. The treasurer's report was through January. When I did the budget adjustments, it was actually through part of February. So when you look at that report, the dues and subscriptions line item is $2,406 versus a $2,160 budget. So it's about a $250 overage, and not the larger amount that you see on the January report of $1,179.
Okay, so it's being updated. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Those are all the questions I have regarding the agenda.
So actually, do we want to talk about, or we're not doing that until, because we can't do a budget transfer anyway, so we're gonna hold that till the next meeting. Okay.
Right.
All right. All right, so I would, if there are no other questions or discussion points, I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Councilmember 3, Keith Brooks, moves to approve the consent agenda, given the recommendations regarding the minute items.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so next item on the agenda is mayor's report. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, is it up? Yeah. So as far as the mayor's report goes, some administrative updates is for, I think in December, or did we discuss this in January? We discussed restructuring our front office, which means restructuring the job titles of the people in our front office. If you were able to see one of our council sessions, basically the two positions that we inherited really didn't make sense. After a year and a half of working with those two positions, we decided that it would be better served for us and what we're looking to do moving forward to restructure the front office. So I think we currently have a senior admin assistant, which is an assistant to the mayor. Then we have an admin slash, is she deputy clerk currently? No, just an admin assistant. So what we're doing is we're changing those two job titles. One is going to be a programs manager and office and program manager, and the second one is going to be a deputy clerk. So what we're hoping to achieve with those two positions is really our town administrator has been doing an amazing job for the past year and a half. Is it a year and a half? Close to 2 years. I want to give him the support that he needs to take some of the things that he currently has on his plate off of his plate, to administer a lot of the programs that we have in our town and to manage our office as well, which our town administrator does, but he'll have more support by having someone doing that. As you know, I work a full-time job, and so I'm not here every single day, although I am heavily involved in everything that happens 7 days a week. I don't necessarily need an administrative assistant. The way that we're structuring it now is any request, anything that I need done, I funnel through Greg. Greg then delegates who does what, and these two positions will be doing that. The deputy clerk will be assisting more with our town treasurer and our town clerk. And so we've had an ad out for the past month and a half. I wasn't sure if we would get many applicants, but we've had at least 20 applicants for the positions, and we're hoping to hire someone by the beginning of March. In addition to that, I've been meeting with all the different committees. I feel like the committees need a lot of our support, especially since we do depend on them to do a lot of the work and initiatives that we host in our town. This includes the Recreation Committee, it includes our Green Team, it includes our Garden Club, it includes the Neighborhood Watch, and it includes the Hispanic Outreach Committee. So I've been meeting with them to kind of plan through what the rest of the year is going to look like, see where they need some support, and then offer some recommendations. So I just want to thank everyone that's been a part of a committee And we're hoping to get more people recruited to be a part of these committees. In regards to initiatives and projects, we're continuing with the charter review. And I had mentioned this before, so I am going to go ahead and show one of the slides that concerns the charter review. I'll let Mr. Holcomb go over the slide, and then we'll talk about some dates that we're proposing that we're hoping council will be able to meet on those dates. Oops. All right. It's on you, Mr. Holcomb.
Yeah, so these started back in October, November. We appointed the committee appointments for the Charter Review Committee. In November through January, we held meetings. The last meeting was on January 31st. February 6th, the town council was presented with the committee recommendations. The minutes were included in this meeting's consent agenda. So going forward, the next steps, March 5th is the next work session. And what we'd like to do is put a public hearing together at 6 o'clock for the public to come to express their thoughts about the charter, any additions, changes, whatever their opinions may be regarding the current charter. And we'll have the recommendations from the committee as well so that they can look at those as part of that. And then that evening would be a work session where we would have the council then discuss the actual charter. We need to start making decisions on the various things that you had people ask for. So what we were going to ask then is that we hold 2 more sessions this month to do public hearing / special work sessions to go over the various aspects of the charter and to allow the public plenty of time to voice their opinions on the various changes that are possibly coming. And then on the March 5th date would be our last work session, so that we could have the March 12th, the actual resolution drafted and presented to council. The reason for asking for these extra meetings is that there is a 21-day notice that has to go out before the public hearing of the actual charter amendment resolution. And so if that's introduced on March 12th, that then takes us straight up to the beginning of the month. I think it takes us like March 30th or something like that. So we would need at that April 2nd meeting then would be that actual public hearing for the charter review amendment resolution with a full vote on it that coming 9th at the regular council meeting. So it's being recommended that we add those 2 extra meetings, but that's kind of a decision for you all to decide on if you want to do that. Otherwise, we would have that, we would only have that 1 public hearing on the 5th. And you would have to make all decisions by then, and we would have to turn around the final version to you by March 12th. If we stretch this out to go into April, that would, after the 21 days are up to hold a public hearing, that would put the final vote to at election day for the council. And so if the council were not to vote on it on that day, then it would go into May, which would be the new council, which would be probably a little confusing. So that's why we're proposing the kind of moved up timeline to try to finalize it by April.
So we're requesting multiple sessions in February?
Correct.
Okay.
The 20th and...
So we're requesting the 20th and the 27th. I think as long as we have a quorum, we'll be fine. So if you're unable to make it, that's understandable, but I'm urging that at least 2 members of council be present along with me. We don't have to have it in person. Obviously, you can join via Zoom. Personally, I want to finish this out with our current council and our administration. I was telling Greg, I'm really like amazed at how much we've kind of tackled in the past couple of months, actually in the past year, right? So we had a special election, we were going through the charter, lots of things that have been happening. I wouldn't feel comfortable if it has to happen, I mean, it's gonna happen, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing this with a new council. I want to do it with our current council. And so this is why I'm requesting the 2 additional dates, and I want to open it up to the public. Anybody that wants to come, ask questions, discuss any of the recommendations that the committee has made. I think those are the times that we want to open up to our community. The 20th and the 27th. Do I need to I don't need to ask for any type of a motion for this, do I? We just set the dates, and if you're able to make it. Okay, so I'm gonna call those 2 meetings. And then again, I'll reach out to Irina and to Malik, Councilmember Hobbs, Councilmember Harding, to see if they can make it. If Councilmember Brooks, Councilmember Mendoza can put it on their schedules, that would be great. If you didn't see, yeah, you can join virtually. So if you didn't see the last council work session, I wanted to thank all of the people that have been a part of the Charter Review Committee. So so basically the process was, and we voted on this process and we set it together. We decided on what we were going to review all together as council, what we were reviewing in regards to the charter. There was no dissent. We all agreed on what was going to be reviewed. Then we agreed on the process. So the process was that according to the charter, at least 1 council member needs to be on the committee. And then it really didn't give any other instruction. It had to be made up of town residents. So we decided that each council member would recruit someone from their ward to be on the council. And then 1 council member could decide whether they wanted to recruit or be on the committee. So I know that Ms. Dixon had for a very long time been asking to be on the Charter Review Committee. And I wanted to respect that because I feel like a lot of people have told me that they felt like they were never heard by previous administrations. And I wanted to show her you are being heard. And so Councilmember Harding agreed to nominate Ms. Dixon to be on the Charter Review Committee. For Ward 2, Irina Hobbs nominated Allison Page. For Ward 3, Councilmember Brooks nominated Mr. Thomas. And then Councilmember Mendoza of Ward 4 was the person that was on the committee, on the Charter Review Committee. I wanted it to be an even number of people, and so I nominated Philip Emirates to be on the Charter Review Committee. So I wanted this to be a fair process, and it sounds like everyone liked the way that this process kind of panned out. More importantly, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending the time discussing this, meeting your neighbors, and just, really being involved in how we run our town. So I wanted to say thank you. Did you want to add anything to that, Greg? I know that you said something about the Charter Review Committee before. Oh, and I want to thank you, obviously, Greg. Thank you for leading and for being a part of it.
Did say things and I don't remember. I was very impressed with the group that came together. It was very interesting to see the individuals did not really know each other at all. So it was really good to see the community come together to put aside any differences, which they didn't have any because they didn't know each other, but to come together as complete strangers to work on our local government structure. So kudos.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'll go back to the mayor's report. Thank you, Mr. Holcomb, for going over that. At one of our last public meetings, we approved the strategic plan. We're still gathering feedback from people. If you haven't read it, if you're interested in knowing more, there is a survey. and we're happy to print it up for you. I believe it's on the website, so just go to colmarmanor.org. Yeah, colmarmanor.org. I get confused if it's .gov or .org. I'll just take a look at it there. Budget forecast in February, that's Mr. Baden, and we'll discuss it in the next meeting. Greg, Mr. Holcomb and myself are still hosting these open office hours. So if there are people that want to come to ask questions about the budget, because we are going to start discussing the budget for FY25, or if you have any questions on anything, please come to the open office hours with the town administrator and myself. We are hosting these on Thursdays, and I think the next one is going to be on the 21st of February. Spanish classes are still going. We have some people that come on and off, but either way, it's great to see people coming to them and the interest around that. The Green Team, I just want to give a big shout out to the Green Team for the work that they've been doing in regards to coming together, discussing the gas station development issue in the town. So if you'd like more information about that, I wrote something about it in the newsletter. I'm happy to print it up. I think that the newsletter is on our website, so just take a look. Contact us if you have any questions. Obviously, we are opposed to a gas station. Just want to make that clear. And we're definitely fighting against it. There is a connectivity grant that we applied for as the Port Towns. And so Mr. Holcomb will, actually, could you give a little information on that?
Yes, the Port Towns were awarded a connectivity grant to provide Chromebooks. Chromebooks to residents within the Port Towns. We each have an allocation that we can provide. It's based on income levels for the area and some other criteria, but we'll be doing some outreach to the community and at our events to see if you qualify. If you've received a device through a different connectivity program, that's marked in a system, so you can't receive another one, but it's only one per household. So in some situations, we have people that may have gone through the school or the library and received a device through one of those grants. They would not be eligible for this, but because they've already received it through the program, but we can filter that out. But there will be more information to come, especially at our upcoming events.
We've also been working with PAMC for creative placemaking. So if you're not familiar with what placemaking is, it's reinvigorating shared town spaces in your community. And this could take many different forms. It could be through events, it could be through celebrating the history, but they've been doing this throughout Prince George's County. And so the last one that they hosted was in Riverdale. And basically they've been talking to us about what creative placemaking or what a project could look like within our town. We've been focusing on the Laracy lot, but also the Dueling Grounds and our Green Street. So just keep an eye out for that. If you have any ideas or suggestions of things that you'd like to see in the community, let us know. My vision for creative placemaking in general, with or without the work through PAMC, is to celebrate our history. We have a lot of history within our town that goes unnoticed. We have the Dueling Grounds, we have the War of 1812 Memorial by the Burger King, the history of the legacy of African-American leaders in our community, even just the cemetery next door. All of these things are things I think we should celebrate and discuss more. The town, the names that our town used to have, urban renewal for our area. These are all really interesting things that we should talk, discuss, celebrate more. So that's just something that's coming down the pike. Greg and I have always talked about street art, having art on our roadways, doing something interesting and innovative with the Dueling Grounds. So these are just some of the things that we've been thinking through, and finally we're able to work with a team that can kind of focus us and help bring some of these ideas to fruition. And then just in regards to some other things that are in the newsletter, I wanted to remind people that with the sidewalk work that is going on, please don't interrupt the work that's happening. Don't write your name in the cement. Don't drive over the cement. More importantly, don't park your cars on our sidewalks. I see a lot of that happening and it disappoints me because that is town property, but it's also in front of your house. And I'm sure that we all want to retain good home values and we want to have beautiful communities. Part of that is making sure that we maintain good sidewalks and pedestrian safety. And when you park your car on sidewalks, you're pretty much destroying the work that we're trying to push forward. So please respect the work that's being done. If you have any questions, let us know. If you have any issues, let us know. Next up is the upcoming events. So we have an open house on the 16th. We'll be watching a movie for Black History Month. We'll be watching Selma. I think we're doing Coco with a Popo. Are we still doing that? Yeah, so we're doing Coco with a Popo. And what? Oh, and there will be soul food. So please come out on the 16th. These open house events that we've been having on a monthly basis are they're just a lot of fun. And it's nice to come together with your neighbors, learn more about them, and do something in your community. On the 23rd of February, we're teaming up with the town of Cottage City to do a Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month lock-in. I didn't know what a lock-in was, but I guess I'm not sleeping that night. So we're gonna have a bunch of teens in the space, and we're gonna have a panel that will be talking about what healthy relationships look like, how to not find yourself in abusive relationships. But they'll be talking to some adult role models. And so that should be an interesting event. So if you want to come out, if you want to volunteer, come on by. If you want to register your child, we will have the Eventbrite information on the website and on our social media. We'll also email that information out. In March, we're having a Swap-A-Rama Rama, which is a clothing swap. So it's something that I used to host all throughout downtown Silver Spring, Tacoma Park. I did it in Mountain Rainier. I've done it here. So it's a clothing swap. People bring clothes that they're no longer using. I usually have sewing machines out, and if people want to modify what they find, that's the chance to do it. But it's just a green initiative. It's a lot of fun. It's open to anyone, men, women, kids. Just come. Your trash could be someone else's treasure. And sometimes people bring clothes, actually, a lot of the times, brand new, still with the tags on it. So make sure to put that on your calendar. Oh, the town cleanup. Shoot, yes. So we're having a town cleanup this weekend as well through the green team. So I'm sure that Sal will discuss that. And Sal, I'm gonna finish this up, wrap this up real quick, and then I'll have you come on. We have a women's conference the 8th of March. We'll be having an open house again with the theme being Easter. And oh, you're up, Sal. So if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and just go over this slide, go for it.
Look at that. Hi, folks. I'm Sal. I live on 40th Avenue. I am one of the co-leads.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second, Sal. Sal, go for it.
All right, gladly. Hello again, everybody. I am Sal Messina, resident on 40th Avenue.
Just one second.
Good to go?
Sorry, Sal, just one second.
Okay.
Put this away. Yeah, I started.
Okay, Sal, try one more time.
Okay, how am I coming through now?
You're good.
Good? Cool. Yes, I'm a co-lead of the Green Team. The Green Team has been active for a couple months now. Couple things going on. The biggest one being a town cleanup event this Saturday at 9 a.m. It has a rain date of the following Saturday, February 24th, in case of inclement weather. Yeah, the town cleanups have been fun. We've had more and more people come out every time. It's a great way to just start getting involved and talking to your neighbors about other green projects the town can do. Otherwise, the green team has been meeting regularly on the second Thursday of each month. We've been keeping up with some of the pertinent developments around the potential development of a gas station at the car wash lot on Newark Road. Yeah, we continue to organize against that. We helped write some language for Monica, Mayor Casañas, to put in the newsletter this month. So if you're interested in keeping up with that, if you're interested in making sure our elected officials here in town and in the county beyond stand opposed to the gas station development, the Green Team is a good outlet for you to get involved. Otherwise, something the town has talked about before and something the Green Team is helping out with is air quality monitoring through a project at the University of Maryland. The town has an agreement with the university. We actually have 6 more air quality monitors that can be given out to town residents. All you need is a spot where you have an outdoor electric outlet or access to outdoor electricity. And ultimately, what these air quality monitors are working on is measuring like soot and fine particulate matter in the air. Ultimately, that data, as the scientists at UMD break it down for us, will be helpful in organizing like against unsustainable business development like gas stations, because there's a lot of commuter traffic along Bladensburg Road. This will kind of measure that and make sure that we are on the right track when it comes to air quality in town. Other than that, Green Team working on other new projects like composting at the town hall, potentially composting for residents of the town as well. And then otherwise, at our last meeting, we were also discussing how great it is that some of the cement has been laid for the bike share up at the front of town, and how cool it is to see some of the dockless e-bikes and e-scooters out there. I know I used them last weekend. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, ultimately, just very much open to more people getting involved with the Green Team. It is a very good outlet for our ideas to make our town green and livable and great for everybody. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Sal. So part of the air monitoring is something that Councilmember Brooks had connected us to University of Maryland. So just wanted to give him kudos for that. The cement for the bike share was done through previous administration. So thank you to Councilmember Mendoza and all the other council members who laid the groundwork for that. It's really cool to see that coming together. But yeah, thank you so much, Sal, for writing that one pager, and then all the work that you continue to do and meeting with everyone else. So you are greatly appreciated. So thank you so much. Okay, so I'm showing up here just some pictures. We have former Mayor Hale, Mayor Barrow, former Councilmember Blue, Chief Stone, Delegate Fennell. And I put on the lower right-hand side just a list of all of our Colmar Manor Black mayors. So we are very proud of their legacy and what they've left behind. I put this in the newsletter as well. Some of the storm incidents that we've had. Just again, thank you to Chief Stone. Thank you to the Prince George's County Emergency team for coming out. And as you can tell now, if you've been over there, they've replaced that section with rocks. So thank you for that. And also just take a look at like the water level on the right-hand side, that middle photo. So this is just a reminder that stormwater management is something that we should be discussing, so that things like this don't occur again. And I know that, you know, we heard from one household that was a victim of flooding. If anyone else is, just let us know, and we'll continue to work to bring some of those initiatives to the town. A big thank you to Public Works, to Al, his team, for clearing our roads when it snowed. On the left-hand side is a snowman. I love seeing these snowmen pop up throughout town and seeing the kids sledding. This was at our open house event. We did some vision boards, and that was just a lot of fun. And it's always, again, nice to come together with our neighbors and talk and do these activities together. These are photos of a volleyball team that's been playing volleyball in our town for at least 15 years. And what's very special about this group is that former rec coordinator Renee Watts, she made a deal with this group that she'd let them use the gym if they volunteered at our town events. So for many years, they were there. They were setting up tables, breaking down tables, cleaning, serving food. And so I'm just happy to have them back, because we obviously we didn't have them here during COVID, but they're back and they want to help again. So just wanted to point that out. For Martin Luther King Day, I was invited for the United Negro College Fund to attend their breakfast meeting. And it was just a really moving and awesome event to be at. Mr. Brattain, who is a law professor at UDC, gave a really moving keynote address, and the focus for him for this year is voting. I was able to talk to him about our voting situation here in Colmar Manor, and he was so proud. He talked about voting being, you know, it's that one thing that allows us to have power in our communities. And so when I expressed to him what our voting situation is like in Colmar Manor, he just couldn't stop congratulating us and saying how wonderful it was to hear, and that he hopes that other people kind of move forward with the same thing, just in regards to voting rights. Here I'm showing you a picture of a bus shelter, and to me, what shocked me is that this voting shelter, this sign, is in Tagalog. Tagalog is a language that is spoken in the Philippines. So this is just to say that people see us, they know how diverse, how beautifully diverse our community is, and they're putting up these types of signs. This is a Prince George's County sign. So the data is out there. Feel free to take a look and see the makeup of and the demographics of our town. But again, just love celebrating the diversity that we have here. Just proud to have Filipino representation on the council. I wanted to show this video very quickly. If you haven't seen it, I don't know if the sound will work, but it features Colmar Manor. Let me know if this, well, we'll figure it out. We'll see. Oh no, it's not working. So how would I share it? Or could I share it? Okay, so I'll put, hey, good. I'll put the link in the chat, and if people want to look at it, what's really, really moving about this is that this is a neighbor. She lives across the street from our town hall. And she is a local poet. Her and her husband are local poets. And they got tapped to be in this giant commercial. And in the commercial, they talk about the flavor of Colmar Manor. And that to me was just, I was blown away. And I loved seeing this commercial. So I'm going to put it in the chat, and feel free to take a look. It's really cool. And they're expecting, so congratulations. Let me go ahead and close this out. I think that might be it. I don't think I have anything else on the mayor's report. Yep, that's it. So now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Councilmember Brooks and actually, Councilmember Malik had something, so let me go ahead and just share what he sent over. So he says, this Friday is our Black History Month event. Please come and enjoy. If you haven't, take the time to find your interest and join a club. Best regards, Councilmember Harding. And again, just a reminder, we're having soul food and we're watching Selma on Friday night here at the town hall. Councilmember Hobbs didn't have anything, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ward 3.
So for Ward 3, we want to say a thank you to Eileen Brown. She is one of the town staff up front. She's been helping us a lot on a project that we have coming up towards the end of this month. Also, similar to what the mayor had mentioned earlier, I want to thank everyone who contributed to the Charter Review Committee. Definitely was not the easiest of tasks, but with the engagement of residents, we ensure the longevity and the professionalism of the town going forward. Some of the concerns from the residents were a lighting on Newark and 43rd. There were 2 lights that have been out for a couple of months that we're trying to get resolved. And then on the way up here, I did notice that there are a few houses off of Lawrence that have drainage running onto the sidewalk. And I know that that presents a potential safety hazard as the temperatures get lower. So just a reminder to please be careful as you're doing your draining of water from your house. Regarding health updates, currently still investigating an opportunity to work with the health department and provide an activity from financial updates. So the IRS, so irs.gov, they have the tax counseling for elderly. So that prioritizes taxpayers age 60 and older, and their focus is on pensions, retirement related planning for seniors. So if you fall into that category, please feel free to visit the site irs.gov. Another activity that the IRS provides is the volunteer income tax assistance. So that is generally for people who make 60,000 or less, people with disabilities, and limited English speaking taxpayers. So if you feel that you may need assistance come this tax season, please feel free to visit the irs.gov. Wednesday, February 28th, we're going to work with Centro de Apoyo Familiar, which is the Family Support Center, and we're going to be hosting a financial literacy workshop. So they started in Massachusetts in 2006. They are a non-for-profit that specializes in HUD counseling regarding free educational workshops, as well as a full range of housing counseling services. The goal is to try to achieve at least 30 people to become in attendance. And the focus for this meeting will be on the basics of money management, the importance of budgeting, the importance of savings, the importance of credit, and they may also cover fair housing and predatory lending that may be helpful for residents. Regarding legal updates, we currently receive feedback from Greenwell Consulting, and there are currently over 3,000 bills in the current Maryland legislative session. So right now, we're closing out the first month, and any new bills will now be directed to the Rules Committee, which means that it'll just have to go through more hurdles. So it's incumbent on municipalities to get as many bills as they can on the floor so they can be voted on as soon as possible. A couple of bills that are currently out there are HB 1451, which is an arts incubator. I know that when we were talking about the car wash alternatives, that was one thing that we're thinking about doing. So possibly finding a way to collab on that study, as well as the HB 466, the flood mitigation comprehensive study. Given the current inclement weather, we might be a great town to become in that study. And then regarding miscellaneous items, so the car wash, there is a meeting on 2/16. The SDRC will have over the car wash development. This will not be a meeting where residents and constituents can ask questions. It'll be more for the developer and the subdivision committee to review the proposal. And then if that goes well, then there'll be another meeting with the planning board on 3/28. And that is all for Ward 3.
Ward 4.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say happy Black History Month. May the struggle, pain, endeavor, sweat, and blood of those fearless warriors never go in vain.
Councilmember Brooks, you talked about hosting an event and you said we were hosting an event on February 28th. Who's we?
So I've been working with Eileen Brown, and tomorrow the Center for the Fair Housing, they're going to send us some flyers, and then I'll ask Eileen Brown to use our communication portals to send out to not only our town, but also surrounding neighborhoods.
So when you say we, it's you and Eileen Brown.
And the Family Support Center.
So in the future, this is again something that I've been asking for. You do these solo projects and you don't let anyone else know what you're doing. And so how are we supposed to work collectively as a council when you don't ask us, involve us, ask us to join you, team up with us, and then you just spring it on us that you're hosting this event, not knowing if we were planning something or leveraging the contacts or any ideas that we may have. I just feel like this is the second instance, probably more than two instances, where you go out and just do this without talking to anyone here. Why?
How would you like to be involved, Mayor?
I don't know if it's a discussion that we need to have now. I would have liked to have been asked before you plan this.
This is for the benefit of the town. So how would you like to be involved?
I think I've made myself clear. When you're thinking through these things, I always bring it up publicly and say, hey, we're thinking about doing this. If you're interested in joining, let us know. I'd like to be checked in with or check in with our town administrator. It's almost, I just don't, when you say we, you're not talking about we, you're talking about you. You decided to host this and you didn't check in with anyone else.
That is your opinion, and that's fair.
It's not my opinion, it's fact. Did you check in with me?
That is your opinion.
It's not an opinion. Did you check in with me?
I sent a request out to Eileen Brown and I copied the town administrator.
Did you receive something knowing about this financial workshop?
And Mr. Brooks requested the use of the outreach room or conference room, depending on what was available and for the size of the group. It wasn't until last week, maybe it was, when we discussed what the actual event was.
So again, in the future, I think just let us know. An email would suffice. Just say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I check in with you, with Brenda, with different people on the green team to say, hey, I'm thinking about this. Can we do it together? And I just feel like, again, it's Councilmember Brooks doing something completely separate from everyone else.
The meeting is not until February 28th. It's currently February 13th. There is plenty to be involved in up until that point. So I'm not sure. So I ask the question again, how would you like to be involved?
So the way I'd like to be involved, Keith, is in the future, when we talk about like what our vision is for the town. I'm sorry. I don't know if you want to hear what I have to say or not.
I'm taking notes.
I want to have a discussion with you because you're asking me. And this is being recorded, so I can get you notes later. So when we're talking about these initiatives and these things that we want to do in our town, just send an email and say, hey guys, I'm thinking about doing this. Like, I'm thinking about doing this on this date. I'd like to invite you to be a part of it. If you have any ideas, if there's anything that you want to be involved with, if there are any contacts that you have, that's how I would like to be involved. Not just me, I think everyone else would like to be involved too. So it's not about you just going on and just doing this yourself. Similar with the air quality project. You brought this idea to all of us, and then we move forward collectively to make this happen. So I don't understand why all of a sudden for the past year, you've decided to just host these events without conferring with anyone or involving anyone. And so I would like to personally just work as a team, and I've been asking for this for I feel like many months now. So it's disappointing when we don't work collectively together.
There is still plenty of opportunity to work as a team. This is the first project.
You could have brought this up at our work session and you didn't.
Can I finish?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So this is the first project that I've brought that is outside of the proof of concept. So this is the first project that required a little bit more. And we're now at a point where we're past the introduction phase and we have an idea and we have a date and we have a place. So up until that point, there's really no need in providing any additional support. But now where we're trying to get the word out, yes, if you want to be involved, that's where you can get involved, is get the word out.
I've asked to be involved numerous times, not on this, but on other projects that you've taken up. You've said no. You've been very resistant. You've not wanted to work with me. So I just want to kind of point this out. This is another instance of Councilmember Brooks doing something aside from everyone else, not wanting to work with anyone else. I don't even really understand why he's hosting this event. But I just wanted to kind of point that out. So we have someone here from Compare Supermarket.
However,
so from Compare Supermarket, thank you. Why don't you come up here and.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hello, how y'all doing today? Good. So I wanted to see if y'all have any questions for us, by any chance.
Awkward.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No.
Well, so I appreciate you being here. I know that we had talked about hosting something where we come and visit, compare foods, talk to the management there. I forgot what date we had talked about.
We talk about the 20th of this month.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check in with the rest of the council and also with different local leaders, because I don't want this to just be a Comar Manor thing. I want to invite Cottage City and all the other port towns to come and meet you.
Okay.
So we might have to shift it depending on people's availability.
Yeah, that's actually I was gonna ask that if we can like make a delay it a little bit, so that way, because we're currently working on the store, and so I guess that what we want to do is just keep it at the best presentation for the tour that you are planning.
So can you tell us, are there any new updates at Compare? I mean, are you under new management? How are things going?
So we are under new management. Currently we are still changing the whole, I guess we're just trying to make it better. Currently right now, we're still bringing in new products, and now we are changing the prices. So I guess we are working on the customers, and that the community is happy, and then they're more than welcome to shop at our store. So we currently, I have mentioned this to the rest of the team about this tour that you are planning, and so I just I told them to see if we can if I can ask you, we can delay it a little bit more, so that way we finish the job, and then it will look more presentable, and then it will hopefully they like it. Awesome.
All right, awesome. Are there any questions for Compare?
Mayor, can you elaborate on, introduce who this is? So
yeah, so my name is Chris Reyes. I'm the general manager of Compare Foods. I am in charge of the whole store and the prices and product availability.
Oh, thank you. And you all are planning wanted to plan an event for the 20th of February?
So the mayor has asked us told us that she wanted to go on a tour with other people, and so we're more than glad to receive them and to proceed with the tour. But like I said, I want the store to look at its best, and I'm working really hard to show that we are a really good store, and that we have good prices and options, and that our store is spotless at its best.
Okay, a promotional. Okay, understand. And just piggybacking off of the last conversation, Outside of the mayor, who else in the town council was in the planning of this tour?
Well, as far as I'm aware, I only had speaking to the mayor. So
Okay, thank you.
So Councilmember Brooks, you can laugh all you want, sir. Because I mean, you don't have any issue disrespecting me, hanging up on me, saying things, winking at me inappropriately at town hall meetings. I asked the owners because I'm in communication with them. I check in on them about monthly, and I proposed, and I've been proposing this idea for quite some time to do a tour of Compare. As you know, I write this newsletter. Did you see that event in this newsletter?
Is it on the 20th?
Hmm?
All right, well,
Did you see the event in the newsletter?
did you communicate it with the town council for the planning?
Did you see this in the newsletter, the 20th in the newsletter?
I guess I missed that planning session. Thank you. though.
No, sir. So the point is, because you don't know how to say yes or no, excuse me, you don't know how to say yes or no.
This
That
is not a
event,
productive
that event
conversation.
was not in the newsletter. And why was that event not in the newsletter?
So I
Because
feel
it
that we
hasn't
should
been
make a motion
confirmed.
to
And
continue
so, no,
because this is
no,
no
I'm
longer
sorry,
a
sir, I'm
productive
talking.
conversation.
I'm talking, sir. So I actually was going to email the council, but not just the council, local Port Town leaders to invite them and to see if what they would like to get out of this event, because I think it's important for us to visit our business community. And so it hasn't been confirmed. It's not in the newsletter. We've just spoken to the general manager, and so it's going to be pushed for a different date. But you know what, Keith? I would love to have your input, and I would love to have your assistance in planning this. So if you want to take me up on the offer, you're welcome to.
I would love to have a conversation with Mr. Reyes.
Oh,
and
so
this
that's just to say that he
mayor-
doesn't want to
mayor-
talk to me. He just wants to talk to you. Okay,
Mayor,
got it.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
No, go
Mayor.
ahead,
I
finish.
said I would love to have a conversation with Mr. Reyes as well as the Monica, as well as any other council members in this planning.
But
So
not the
feel free to
mayor.
give me-
Thank you. All right. So thank you so much for coming. I'll reach out to you. We'll figure out a date.
sure.
And then once I communicate this with everyone else, we'll make sure that we go, and it's going to be really cool to kind of be there and see all the transition that has happened in the supermarket. So thank you for being in our town and for all you do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so what do we have coming up on the agenda? Oh, great. So I'd like to open it up for public comments.
Hi, good afternoon, Council. My name is Philip Emirates. I'm from Ward 3. I live around 42nd Avenue. I'm coming tonight because I want to talk a little bit about traffic safety in town, or the distinct lack thereof. I see cars blow through stop signs on a daily basis while I'm walking around town. There are cars that park in their driveways, blocking the sidewalk, which is against state and county law. Just a lot of issues like that going on. I know there have been some ARPA funds that were being put towards sort of studying traffic patterns in town. And I remember seeing for a couple weeks, like meters with the cables across the street. I was curious what the sort of next step of that is, if there was something that was going to come out of that study, if there were going to be any changes in town to try and help address these issues.
I can chime in on that. Yes, we did do the traffic study. They did give us recommendations out of that study. They vary from things like signage to alternatives that we could do to potentially slow down traffic. We actually are implementing one of their larger recommendations in a project in the engineering drawings for 41st and Newark for the Green Street. So we were able to incorporate a mini roundabout with raised crosswalks in that design for that intersection as part of a recommendation from that organization to do on Newark Road. When it comes into further into town, there were less kind of recommendations of what to do, just because the traffic is kind of light for the most part, other than signage, potentially some speed bumps, things along that lines. But potentially also the raised crosswalks, but that would be an ongoing project throughout town.
Sure.
Which
Yeah,
would
and
essentially add speed bumps to every intersection.
yeah, and I'm very much in favor of that. But I was curious, are there any ARPA funds that are sort of reserved for this next stage of it, or do we only have the funds for the initial study and we'll have to kind of find the money for any future work?
Yeah, so once the study was done, I think the concept was to take what we found out of that and incorporate it into everything that we're doing in general. So that's why right after that, I mean, it was a month after that study was done, we applied to get the engineering done for 41st and Newark. And I immediately said, this study was just done, let's incorporate recommendations from it into this project as soon as we can. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing, we just accepted a grant for the Community Legacy Grant through the Department of Housing Community Development for streetscaping. It's to finish up some things on the Green Street, but it's also to do Newtown signage for street signs, but there could be some safety sign component added to that if the money allows as part of that as well. But it's kind of an ongoing process as we can work things into everything that we do.
Sure, of course. For the development of the Green Street and those raised walkways, is there any approximate time? I'm sure it's going to take a while, but is there any approximate timeline for that to be developed?
Good question. So we were able to get, just for an example, we were in the engineering phase for 43rd and Newark last year, and were awarded the construction grant. And I'm just waiting for the county to finish their permitting process for us to do an RFP to start construction right away at 43rd in Newark. So, I mean, I think that was about a year to year and a half grant funding allowing, but I think we have a good possibility to get awarded to get the construction done at 41st in Newark as well pretty fast. But it's probably going to be another year.
A year or so.
Before, yeah, anything's fully done there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Wait, before you go away. So if you recall, when we had the traffic camera at the intersection of, what is that, 40th and Newark? So there are costs associated with that camera. I was interested in seeing what our budget projections were, because I would be interested in having something like that. When they came to one of our town meetings and they showed us the amount of people who just don't care and don't stop at those stop signs, it really scared me. And it scares me for a couple of different reasons. First off, that's where I wait with my daughter for her school bus in the morning. Second off, that's where lots of kids wait for their school buses in the morning, but then also they let go or they get dropped off there in the afternoon. I don't like to see that type of driving in our town. I would like to request when we start talking through the budget that we look into that. I know that the town of Cottage City purchased, I think, two of those camera towers. One is permanent, one can be moved around. I'm not sure if that's something that the council might be interested in, moving some of our unreserved funds to purchase something like that. I think if we have the money, if we have a little extra to spare, I would definitely be interested in having that. So that's one of the things that I would like to see.
Sure. Yeah. And I would like to echo that sentiment that it's really, there are so many kids in town at so many hours of the day, and cars just whip down every street. I see it every single day while I'm out walking my dog. Several times I've nearly been struck while crossing the street because they just cut in front of me. So there are many different ways to potentially approach and solve it, but I'd like to see something happening to try and address it, because it's a rampant issue everywhere in town. It's not any one intersection. It's the way everyone drives.
So I'll be honest with you, like I'll go to like my neighbors' houses, they'll invite me over, and I always feel silly, but they'll look at me as soon as a car is like racing by, they're like, "You see, Mayor?" And I just tell them, like, I can't make these decisions on my own. I have to have the council help me with those types of, budget considerations. That's something that I would like to push forward with. I know also, like when you talk about the sidewalks, lately for me, a big thing is seeing people parking. Like it's my pet peeve. I don't like seeing people parking on the sidewalks, and a lot of people do. especially on my street. So I don't know what we can do police-wise, but those are discussions that we can have, a town administrator can have, just in regards to that.
Sure. Thank
So
you very much for the
one more
information.
comment to that. During the last neighborhood watch that I attended, I believe it's Corporal Chavez made it a great suggestion that if residents were willing to maybe allow some of our police officers to park in residents' driveways and potentially catch offenders that way. So I don't know if the chief has pushed forward on that, but that may be a less of a budget burden than the towers.
Yes, actually, Corporal Chavez is in the room, and he was telling me that he has a couple residents have taken us up on that, and he has sat in a driveway or two. And I don't know about speeding, but has come up with some stop sign violations. If maybe as far as the I'll speak with you after the meeting, or when I see you walking your dog, and we can talk about some specific spots. But we do issue citations for the parking too close to the corners, on the yellow curbs, and the sidewalks, and throughout town. Perhaps we could be a little bit more aggressive on that, but we do write the citations for that and warnings on a lot of occasions.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your information.
Any other resident comments or concerns, either in person or via Zoom? Thank you. I see a hand up for Ms. Mary Smith, who's on via Zoom. So just give us 1 second. I'm gonna give you when you say go ahead, because I have to turn my mic. Well, I have to turn my mic off in order to let you speak. Oh, go.
Hi, I just had a question about the sidewalks. Are the money that's funded for the sidewalks is only for sidewalks?
Sorry, I want to make sure we didn't get feedback. So the money allocated is for sidewalks, curb, and aprons the town owns.
And no personal driveways? Yes, a driveway has been done by the councilman. And I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't part of our budget to do personal driveways.
Ms. Smith, Ms. Smith, first off, what street do you live on?
I'm at 40th and Newark Road.
Okay, Ms. Smith. So we're not doing people's driveways, and Officer Chavez, Corporal Chavez, what was the question? Oh, to whose driveway? To
Councilman Mendez. Her driveway was done. The guys were out there doing her driveway.
Yeah, gift from my husband.
So that's a reimbursement to the city?
No, so we've had multiple residents call us because the concrete company is here in town. They've asked for their information to get a smaller sidewalk done leading up to the house, or a portion of their driveway done. So what Mrs. Mendoza was just saying was that her husband gave it her a driveway for Valentine's Day, but that's paid directly to the concrete contractor. Yeah, outside of our contract. Yes.
Ms. Smith, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Not satisfied with the answer, but thank you, because that's not what the guys told me when I was out walking my dog, but thank you.
Oh, yeah. Rest assured, Ms. Smith, and actually I wanted to bring this up. Thank you for reminding me, actually. So every year the town gets audited. And we actually keep records of all the spots that have been paid for in regards to the concrete and the sidewalk repairs. So you are very welcome to look at that list. It's public, just so that you can rest assured that we're not going around paying for Councilmember Mendoza's driveway. But one thing that came up in regards to the bills that have been passed is that there is a bill that was introduced that would penalize municipalities if they were not current with their audits. So if they were not fulfilling their obligation as a municipality to have audits, the bill is proposing that those municipalities not receive state funding, and I believe not receive police funding, something to that effect. I wrote a letter supporting it as long as it has amendments. So the amendments that I'm proposing are a couple of them, and one of them actually was inspired by our town administrator. So in Prince George's County, or actually just in the state, there's something called a circuit rider program for town administrators. And this is how we had a town administrator previous to Mr. Holcomb, who was part-time. We shared her with North Brentwood and I think a couple of other towns. Needless to say, we appreciate the work that was done by the previous circuit rider. It wasn't enough to push our municipality forward. And so I supported that bill as long as it gave the towns who were not up to date or current with their audits time to become compliant. Because I think it's very harsh to penalize municipalities who struggle very hard to make money and to keep towns running. In addition to that, I was requesting and I'm advocating for more funding to be placed in the circuit rider program so that towns can go ahead and have full-time town administrators as long as they can match those types of salaries. So in general, town administrator salaries range anywhere between $90,000 to like $130,000. If we were able to fund that program, a lot of the smaller municipalities like ours, any municipalities that have less than 2,500 residents would be able to tap into that program to professionalize their services and their processes and have all of the amazing projects that our town administrator is pushing forward for Colmar Manor. So that's just to say that we are keeping an eye on all of these bills. If there's ever a bill that anyone reads or hears about that would like to discuss it with us and wants us to advocate for something in particular, let us know. But then that's just also going back to this whole question about spending money on people's driveways. We get audited. So there's no funny business going on. And so I appreciate you bringing this up. This gave me an opportunity to explain what our budgeting process looks like and some of the bills that we're advocating for.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, resident feedback, comments, in person, online? Okay, so now we're up to agenda item number 10 under action, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to Town Administrator Holcomb.
The first item under new business is resolution 03-2024, which is a resolution of support for the department or our renewal application to the Department of Housing and Community Development for the Sustainable Communities renewal with the port towns. And the only action that it takes inside of it is authorizing me to act on the town's behalf with the coordination of that process.
So we're asking for a motion?
Yeah, so there's just a motion that the towns pass to say we all want to work together as the port towns as this one entity for the Sustainable Communities Program.
Okay.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will make that motion stated.
Councilmember Brooks seconds it.
Any discussion?
So this puts the town administrator for a 5-year. It says sustainable community designation must be renewed every 5 years. So will this also, what do we do if we do not have a town administrator?
No, so it's saying it's the permission to allow the town administrator to act on the town's behalf for submission. So
okay.
It's just the submission of this application.
Perfect, thank you. That's the only question I have.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Item B.
Just a side note, the community development grant, the community legacy grant we got received was because of our actions with the Sustainable Communities Program. So those are the benefits we get out of that. Next item is the item we discussed at the work session, the volunteer rental benefit program. I put it into the format of a resolution for discussion purposes. So it's R-04-2024. This would implement a town policy to allow volunteer members of town sanctioned committees to receive an annual free rental of town hall spaces after service on a committee for 6 months. And then I did update, there were some mathematical errors, cell issues I had in my last update, but I did add that financial aspect of it. If there were only one volunteer that were to ask what the cost would look like versus one volunteer per club, 2 volunteers per club, half of all volunteers. And this is an estimate of if there were 5 volunteers per committee.
I'll make that motion stated. What Councilmember Melinda Dozal make that motion stated.
Wait, to pass, you want to move to pass the resolution?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks seconds it.
Is there any discussion?
I feel that this, or Councilmember Brooks feels that this is a great opportunity to get more engagement from town residents. I would like to understand, along with a 6-month timeframe, why is there not a hour minimum, and then who would manage to make sure that we keep records?
Yeah, good question. So all of our rentals are 6-hour rentals, unless needed more, then they're charged more for those extra hours. So it would follow the general policy that we have for hall rentals, which is the 6-hour rental. And that's the same that goes for the town's policies that staff receive 1 free rental a year and council members and the elected officials receive 2 per year. And so that follows that same line, same policy of 6 hours per rental, unless you need more, but then you're charged for those additional hours. And then it's going to be tracked. The committees have to submit their attendance sheets to us. And that's on the committees to provide that information to us to receive the benefit. And if we don't have accurate information from the committees, then I'm sorry, but.
I would Councilmember Brooks, Ward 3, I would recommend that we, put at least a minimum hour requirement. I definitely like the 6 months, but also including a minimum hourly.
Oh, you mean hourly as in service hours? I thought you meant the rental hours. I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. Yes. That's up to you. Well, yes, if you have a recommendation on what that would be, because I did have a question regarding, for instance, the Rise and Shine Senior Club is a town sanctioned committee. One of the things I note in here, I do call it a resident volunteer.
Correct.
Being very specific there because the Rise and Shine has members from outside the community. The Garden Club has people from outside the community. So this would only be for volunteers of the town. So that is one caveat. But there is the question of what is volunteering in the senior club? Is it actually volunteering if they're coming to every meeting? Does that count towards it? That's a little vague for me. If you were to pass this as is, I would probably say, yeah, it's just if they're a member and they come to the meetings and they sign in, then they did their part. But I think there's probably some members, maybe even the garden club, that do more just garden than participate in a lot of the upkeep. And so if you want to add an hour requirement to that might help clear that up a little bit.
Yeah, and I was looking at the District of Columbia Board of Education, and just, I know it's not technically apples to apples, but for students, there's a 100-hour requirement to graduate. So assuming that's 4 years, 4 divided by 125, so maybe somewhere around 25 hours in 6 months. So 25-hour minimum, 6 months volunteering of a resident, and you're able to qualify for this benefit.
I wouldn't put 25 hours, Greg. I would put something like 12 to 18 hours. If they're hosting these meetings once a month, that's an hour, let's say, per meeting, and then an additional hour for any type of event that they're helping with. So 2 times 6 is 12. I would put something like 12-hour minimum of service. If you want to up it a little bit more, sure, but I wouldn't put 25 hours. That's a lot of time.
If I could ask a couple questions about the cost breakdown. This is the first time that I'm seeing this. And if I read it correctly, I mean, based on the current number of volunteers we have in the committees, this could cost the town up to $42,000 a year in lost revenue. Is that correct?
Correct. And that's an assumption of 5 members per club, whereas some of the organizations may be higher than that, 7 to 10 members even. Potentially, I mean, we don't have a limit to club membership, so.
Yeah, so as people see that they could get a $1,500 hall rental for free, they may just join a club or organization in order to become a volunteer, and then it could cost the town a lot more. You know, whether that's the case or not, I think that lost revenue is a very poor idea from a financial standpoint from a town our size that has a tight budget. So I would totally oppose the entire idea. I think it's a good gesture, but I think you're opening up a floodgate to cause the town a large cost, because for each hall rental you're going to have our cleanup person come in and clean it. You've got janitorial costs associated with use of the lavatories, water, kitchen, all those purposes. And I think people should be serving as volunteers for the community out of wanting to serve for the community. I think we've got a lot of good volunteers. I think this is a policy that could open us up to abuse for the use of it, and I think the cost associated with it is far greater than what the benefit is we're going to receive. So, I hate to be the one to say that, but I would not be for it. Not that I have a vote.
No,
from a financial point, as your position as the treasurer, I think it's a horrible idea.
No, I appreciate that. And I think that that's really good feedback. I think, so my line of thinking with this is that there are a lot of municipalities, for example, Hyattsville, not that we can compete with Hyattsville because they're so big, but there are lots of municipalities that actually give their volunteers stipends. And I know, yes, we want people to volunteer because out of the goodness of their heart, to give back to the community, but not everyone does, not everyone can. And I'm sure that in this instance, there would be a lot of committee members that wouldn't take up this additional benefit. I mean, just to play devil's advocate. But in addition to like the lost revenue, I mean, I'm cool. I would love to get your feedback on this, and maybe we come up with something that makes a little bit more sense. I think to balance out some possible lost revenue, we have not yet fully marketed our town hall. So right now, the only space that we're renting out is this main hall. That's it. We're not renting out the outreach room. We're not renting out our conference room. We're not renting out our kitchen. So this is why we're going through a restructuring in our front office, because I need people that are on it. I need people that will think business-minded, that will help us create those materials and help us do outreach to those groups that are interested in renting our town hall, so that we can increase our town hall rental revenue. And then also balance out this possible benefit that we can have for committee members. So if you could review this and maybe come up with some suggestions, I think that would really help. And we can all take a look at this and come up with some more ideas as to how this could work. But I do want to offer up our committee members and our volunteers some type of a benefit, because right now, like, I'm wearing a lot of our volunteers thin, and I'm also struggling to get people to participate in these committees. Like I go out, I talk to people and I draw them into these committees so that they can participate. That's where council can help. But I need something else. So if I'm doing it by myself and I'm not having any help with recruiting people to be a part of these committees, I need to give them something else, because these committees are really, they're the energy that helps us do all the things that we do in our community. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of a stipend and number of hours worked, I mean, just because you serve on a committee, I mean, something, along those lines may make more sense. If you serve on the committee and you volunteer, 25 hours or more, whatever the threshold is in a year, then, we'll provide you a $100 stipend or something. See what that comes out to. But I think that makes more sense than this, and maybe limiting the number of volunteers per committee to a fixed amount. So if you have 7 committees and you agree to 5 stipends per committee, if we serve 25 hours or something like that, that's more palatable, than this. This I think is, could open, like I said, open up the floodgates to a lot larger amount if you don't cap it somehow. And the max amount here is 42,000, but if you have more committees and you don't cap it, it could be a lot more. So maybe start out with a stipend and see if that would help. So yeah, definitely some other idea.
So can I ask you and Mr. Holcomb to talk through this and come back with a couple of iterations of this for our next council meeting?
Yeah, I would just have Councilmember Mendoza just amends her motion to table it until the council work session in March.
So make a motion to table.
Yeah, table the resolution until.
To table the resolution until March.
Councilmember Brooks seconds it.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, is that it on the agenda for this evening? Oh, no, we have to, okay, yes, sorry. So we have one more item, which I said I was gonna do at the beginning, but I didn't. So yes, Devin, what's Devin's last name? Devin Fore? F-O-R-E. Okay, so I would like to appoint town resident Devin Fore as an election supervisor.
Just a note, when Mr. Cade moved out of town, he was one of our election supervisors, so it opened up a spot. And with the election coming up, that was one vacancy for it.
What was the process? Oh, I guess we need to make the motion first, right?
You get the point with the council has to approve the appointment.
I'd like to request a motion to approve the appointing of Devin Fore as an election supervisor to serve a 4-year term.
The remainder, yeah.
The remainder, yeah, of a 4-year term.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will make that motion stated.
Councilmember Brooks seconds that motion.
Any discussion?
How many nominees or prospective individuals applied for this position?
No one applied for it. We reached out to Devin individually, just based on her previous experience with elections in town. So we knew that she had worked as an election judge in the community. So she had some previous experience doing the judging side of things, which a lot of usually our commission member or committee members of the election board of commissioners, they usually tend to be our judges. So it's helpful to have someone with that experience, because we don't get county training necessarily for our elections. It's just up to us to kind of run them.
And to refresh my memory, in our charter, does it say anything about making that information public before we appoint a new election supervisor?
I mean, this would be public.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing like a certain number of days ahead of time or posting or anything like that.
Okay, all right, so, okay, no forward notes. Okay.
Yeah, it's really no different than the Charter Review Committee when we appointed everyone.
Okay.
So we're done with the discussion? Okay. Was the motion made? Okay, so all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. So now are we done? Okay, so I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I will make that motion stated.
Councilmember Brooks seconds it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion accepted. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.